Decentralized finance, or DeFi, is one of the hottest sectors on the market. So hot, in fact, that it can sometimes be hard to keep up. Flash loans, DEXs, derivatives, portfolio management, the list goes on. Every day sees the launch of a project just trying to take your breath away. Now, I'm not one to be swayed, but I have to say that DeFi is here to stay. And if this is the case, then the Kyber Network is perhaps one of the projects best positioned to take advantage. My name is Guy, and in this video I'll be taking a look at where the Kyber Network stands today, as well as exploring some of the most exciting things yet to come. Finally, I'll be giving you my personal take on where I see Kyber and KNC going this year. So be sure to stick around till the very end. Now, I'm raring to go, but before I get ahead of myself, this is not investment advice, and I sure hope that you are not using it as such. Please do your own research. It's definitely not overrated. And if you happen to be new to the Bureau, it's great having you. Now, quickly tap that subscribe button and ping that little bell. Be sure to get these videos the moment they hit the tube. Enough of the boring disclaimers. Let's get cracking with Kyber. Before I can take a look at what Kyber is up to, I need to give you a brief intro into what the Kyber Network is. Basically, it's a decentralized exchange protocol that provides on-chain liquidity. What do I mean by that? Well, it basically gives users the ability to exchange ERC20 tokens with one another on the Ethereum blockchain in one seamless transaction. Through the use of smart contracts, the Kyber protocol offers a single interface for the best available token exchange rates to be taken from an aggregated liquidity pool across diverse sources. I won't go into the exact mechanics of how this works right now. I actually did a separate video on that, which you can watch right here. But to give you a short overview, the Kyber Network consists of takers that remove liquidity from the protocol by calling the Kyber's Core Smart Contract. Basically, they are initiating a token swap from one to another. These takers can be end users, exchanges, wallets, or dApps. Then on the other side of the market you have your reserves, which you can think of as your makers. They all provide the liquidity to the network in terms of both token inventory and prices. These reserves will interact with the reserve interface contract. When Kyber is trying to match a trade, all of these reserves will be queried through an interactive process to find the best trading conditions. This is all done in a decentralized, automated, and instantaneous fashion. Pretty cool, right? Anyways, these reserves are usually liquidity pools, token holder projects, etc. Oh, you also have the maintainers on the network, which is basically any entity that has the permissions to access the functions. In this case, it is the Kyber Network team. Now, that is a short overview of how the Kyber Network functions, but what benefits does this have? Well, there are 4 primary features of using Kyber's on-chain liquidity protocol. Firstly, you have that instant trade settlement. You don't have to wait for any sort of order fulfillment. Settlement and matching is done in a single on-chain transaction. Secondly, there is no concept of partially executed orders like you get on centralized exchanges or other DEXs. The trade is either fully executed or is reverted. Another great feature of the Kyber protocol is the transparency of it. Anyone can verify the rates that are being offered by the reserves, so they can make sure that they are indeed getting the best rates. Finally, the Kyber Network protocol remains one of the easiest to integrate with. Through their smart contracts, APIs, and widgets, other applications can use them to seamlessly exchange tokens. And this point is part of the reason why I think that the Kyber Network is best positioned to take advantage of the DeFi boom. By offering a seamless integration solution, numerous exchanges, wallets, and DeFi projects are using Kyber. Now, let's explore this a bit more. Firstly, you have the crypto wallets. The ability to be able to swap tokens right there on the wallet is a great feature. Now, although you may be able to do this with some wallets, it's important to note the difference between an off-chain and an on-chain exchange. Many wallets, including Coinomi, Atomic Wallet, Garda, etc., offer off-chain non-custodial conversions through services including Shapeshift, Changelly, etc. These come with fees and are not done in a single on-chain protocol swap, centralized so to speak. However, when a wallet integrated with Kyber, they are using the protocol to exchange tokens with the reserves or makers, quickly and with no fees. Here are some wallets that have already integrated with the Kyber network: Coinbase, MyEtherWallet, Trust Wallet, etc. Moving on to another Kyber network integration use case, you have decentralized e-commerce payments. How cool would it be if you could accept payments in any token and have it converted into your preferred one? All done instantaneously and in an automated fashion. Someone could buy that item in your online store with Ethereum and have it instantly converted into DAI stablecoin. This could bring more certainty to commerce. You won't have to first sell the tokens in order to secure the fiat value. Here are some of the projects that are using Kyber to do just that. Another really cool integration that was recently announced was that of the Axie Infinity, which is using Kyber's liquidity protocol to accept ERC20 payments for non-fungible tokens, or NFTs. This is a sector that I'm also really bullish on, and it's great to see that Kyber is the go-to solution for on-chain payments. If you want to learn more about NFTs, then I encourage you to check out my video on that topic right here. Anyways, one of the most compelling use cases for Kyber is for those much vaunted DeFi projects. How are they using the Kyber network? Well, they take advantage of the on-chain liquidity at Kyber network to liquidate assets or rebalance crypto portfolios. For example, you have SET, which is a portfolio optimization dApp. It uses Kyber in order to automatically rebalance your crypto portfolio to desired percentage allocations. You also have Fulcrum, which is a DeFi platform for tokenized lending and margin trading. They use the Kyber protocol in order to provide swapping services and create the margin positions. There are, of course, a host of other DeFi projects that are using the Kyber network. I won't go into them here, but you can see the full list on their website. Oh, and you also have one of Kyber's own dApps in KyberSwap. This is basically Kyber's own unique decentralized exchange dApp that uses the Kyber protocol to exercise its trades. It has a pretty slick and user-friendly interface that allows you to exchange over 70 different tokens. All of these integrations show the immense use cases for the Kyber network. And the numbers don't lie. Take a look at the Kyber DeFi volumes here. Indeed, the entire Kyber ecosystem is seeing a great deal of growth across a number of use cases. Here are a number of the quarterly trades that have been completed. The number of unique addresses. And the dollar volume. It's also not just the Kyber network that is keeping tabs. In Binance's 2019 DeFi report, they list the Kyber as the most used project in DeFi. Okay, so it's pretty clear that Kyber is one of the go-to protocols in the space. But what can we expect looking forward? Well, firstly is the work that is taking place on cross-chain interoperability. One that I want to take a look at is the EOS Ethereum bridge called Waterloo. This was first proposed in February of last year, and it is Kyber's solution to communication across these chains. Once the implementation goes live, it will allow for the transfer of value between these two ecosystems. The exact mechanics of how this bridge will work are beyond the scope of this video, but I have linked to some resources below that should make things a bit clearer. The main thing to understand is that this bridge will open up the entire EOS ecosystem to those who use Ethereum. It will allow for decentralized trading and price discovery in on-chain markets that you've never seen before. Pretty exciting. Now, I should of course caveat that this is still in development. The developers did complete a proof of concept in July, but there is still a lot that has to be done before Waterloo can be made a production-level working bridge. Either way, I'll be keeping my eyes closely on that. Moving on, another really important update that you need to know about is Katalyst with a K. Now, what the hell is that? Well, basically, Katalyst is an upgrade to the core Kyber protocol that will not only increase liquidity, but also increase general stakeholder participation. For example, they plan to change the way that fees are distributed on the protocol. You may know that in the current Kyber protocol design, fees are either burned or they are paid over to the dApp integrations. However, there is no fee reward paid to those that are providing the liquidity. This means that you don't really have an incentive for the makers in the reserves to provide said liquidity. These reserve operators or makers also have to hold a significant amount of KNC tokens if they want to integrate with Kyber. This has often been a barrier to entry for many. However, with the Katalyst upgrade, this minimum balance requirement will be removed. This will hopefully reduce the barrier to integration. There will also be a new fee distribution model that will see fees be given to these market makers as rebates, used to great effect on centralized exchanges. In addition to rewarding liquidity providers in the reserves, some of these fees will also go towards KNC stakers who vote on protocol parameters. This is actually called the Kyber DAO. It's Kyber's attempt to strengthen the broader governance of the ecosystem. Essentially, this DAO will bring in a wide array of KNC stakers, including the dApps, VCs, wallets, etc. Not only will they vote on protocol improvements that I mentioned before, but they'll also vote on issues like protocol fees, listing tokens, reserve approvals, etc. So what does all this mean? Well, all of those DeFi dApps, wallets and partners I mentioned before will be able to have a say on how the Kyber network progresses. Oh, and there's one more thing that Katalyst is doing that will encourage more dApp developers, and that is giving them the ability to charge their own price spread. Previously, Kyber worked on a fee-sharing program with the developers. With the new model, they have more control over their own finances and pricing. They can select a price commensurate with their own promotional models. So, if you have a dApp and you wanted to provide razor-thin spreads, you didn't have much freedom previously. However, with the upgrade, you can choose the spreads most applicable to your business model. Okay, I know what you're thinking. What does all this mean for Kyber's KNC? Well, quite a bit as it happens. So let's take a look into that, shall we? Currently, the dynamics of the Kyber network is such that burning was one of the only ways that KNC holders would directly benefit from network growth. 70% of the network fees were taken out of circulation, which would, of course, drop supply and lead to long-term capital growth. While this does have benefits for those who hodl long-term, it did not encourage active participation by those in the network. In reality, the only way that a protocol really gains adoption is if more people want to actively participate, not just hodl. This is set to change with the release of the Kyber DAO and the reserve incentives. Burning will still take place on the protocol, but holders will also have an opportunity to earn more KNC. For example, with the release of the Kyber DAO, staking will be introduced on the Kyber network for the first time. The amount of rewards will be proportional to the amount staked. So not only will those who stake see a long-term application through the burning of KNC, but they will also have the opportunity to earn more KNC through the participation process. Then of course you have those reserve incentives that I talked about before. They will be rewarded for providing liquidity to the system and making markets. Of course, this has broader positive benefits for the entire Kyber network, as it leads to greater liquidity, deeper markets, and more trading opportunities. I can actually see a kind of positive feedback loop happening here. More liquidity sees greater benefit for dApp integration, which sees more takers and users, which increases demand for KNC and the protocol. And while these protocol updates are still some time away, the markets seem to be going in a positive direction for KNC. 2020 has so far seen a resurgence in trading volume and price of KNC. Just to put a cherry on top of this crypto cake, Coinbase recently listed KNC on their main exchange. That's right, it's one of the few coins that have both the esteem to be listed on Coinbase Pro and Coinbase. And not only do you have increased retail trading demand, but you also have to factor in that decreasing supply. Just this February, Kyber passed an important milestone as they announced that they had burned 4 million KNC. As Usher said, let it burn. Anyways, interest in Kyber network is not an isolated incident. It comes with awareness of the protocol and partnerships that bring liquidity providers to the platform. And this is the other aspect that I think the team at Kyber Network gets right. They are incredibly active in the community. Let's take a quick look at what they've been doing on this front. The Kyber Network has been one of the most active projects in the Ethereum space when it comes to their global meetups. They've met developers in multiple regions across the world, from meetups in the Americas to Asia and Europe. Kyber has also been a stable fixture at numerous DevCons around the world. From Blockchain Week in Germany to ETH India, from Osaka DevCon to the ETH Denver where they sponsored a hackathon. And speaking of hackathons, the Kyber team have run quite a few of these. On top of those that they sponsor at these conferences, they also held a virtual hackathon in October of last year. There were over $42,000 in bounties that were awarded. All of this shows that Kyber is front and center of developers' minds. If someone is thinking of building a dApp or launching a DeFi project, then you're likely to use an integration that you have either heard about or worked with at one of these events. I think it's only fitting now to leave you with some of my final thoughts on the network. As you can probably tell, I'm quite bullish on the Kyber network. DeFi just seems to be one of those sectors you just can't ignore, and the Kyber network provides the backbone for this. I also think that more and more people in the crypto space are seeing the benefits of decentralized exchanges. Why should we be trading cryptocurrencies held for their decentralized properties on a centralized exchange? It's nonsensical. And centralized exchanges are also losing their main selling point when it comes to ease of use. There are a number of decentralized exchange platforms that make trading a breeze. These include the likes of Switch.io, Uniswap, Oasis, etc. Just a seamless experience. And what do all the DEXs have in common? Yes, they all use the Kyber network to access their on-chain token liquidity. Something else that I'm really looking forward to on the Kyber network is of course their release of the Waterloo bridge. This could open up a whole new world of exchange opportunities between the Ethereum and EOS ecosystems. Not just that, but it also opens up the Kyber network to a sea of use cases on the EOS blockchain. Although the EOS network is not as big as Ethereum, there are a number of projects that are building their own dApps in that space. When Kyber opens up Waterloo, these dApps will be able to access oceans of token liquidity across chain and on-chain. Then of course you have the Katalyst upgrade to look forward to. This could help spur further adoption for the KNC token in a number of ways. It'll introduce staking, which will see more demand for holding the token long term. It'll also allow those who do hold the token to take part in important decisions that relate to the project through the Kyber DAO. Moreover, Katalyst will provide further incentives for reserve operators to offer their liquidity. The redistribution of tokens to reward these market makers will see much greater liquidity being added to the network. Okay, so you're probably wondering what I think this means for KNC then. Well, let's not forget that the Kyber protocol will still be burning some tokens from fees when Katalyst is launched. This means that you will still have a decreasing supply of KNC. Yet, with the new staking features on KNC, you're likely to have additional demand. Now, as we well know from Economics 101, a decreasing supply with an increasing demand leads to an increase in price. This, of course, holds all else equal. But should we hold all else equal? What about the impact that we're likely to see with a sea of additional dApps and DeFi projects? As they start integrating into the network, exchange activity is likely to pick up. As it does, so too will demand for the KNC token. So yes, from a fundamental standpoint, I am just as bullish on KNC as I am on the Kyber network as a whole. Are there risks? Well, yes, of course. The Kyber network is not alone in the DEX protocol space. You also have the likes of 0x, which is also building out some pretty advanced technology. And then, of course, you always have risks that come from hackers trying to exploit protocols. Hackers were pretty successful recently by taking advantage of flash loans on Fulcrum and BZX. The open source nature of DeFi means that it's not only the good guys that are studying the code. But then again, centralized exchanges get hacked, and when they do, the impact is much more severe. Remember, not your keys, not your crypto. And that, my friends, is my video on the Kyber network. I need to hear from you though. What do you think of the Kyber network? What are your favorite DeFi projects? And if this video helped you, then please help support the channel. Give me a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. I have some really interesting videos that are just around the corner. Oh, just one more thing, and this is an important one. Have you heard of my weekly newsletter? It's my personal take on the crypto markets and the projects that comprise it. I share unique trading insights, news that flew below your radar, as well as some hot coins that I have on my watch list. Want to join? Sweet! Just head on over to the description where you will find my sign-up form. All you have to do is insert your email and submit. And that's it. You are now a Coin Bureau insider. See you in my next video.
you.